You're listening to The Crypt, and my very special guest on the show today is Chris Sun, the writer and director of the brand new horror movie Charlie's Farm that stars Kane Hodder, Tara Reid, Bill Moseley and Nathan Jones. So you're very welcome to the show, Chris.
Thank you very much. Nice to be here.
Well, before we get on to your movies, could you give us a bit of background about yourself?
Well, my mum originally named me after the original Dracula, Christopher Lee, when I was born. So maybe that was a sign from an early age. I do special effects for a living, and I just love everything about horror. You know, horror and gore, mainly gore. I think I'm more of a gore fan than a horror fan.
Well, signs are on you. Daddy's Girl. That was your last movie now before you started Charlie's Farm, was Daddy's Little Girl. And it's the ultimate story of grief and revenge. Could you talk a bit about the plot of the movie?
Definitely. Daddy's Little Girl is based on actual events from my hometown here in Australia, apart from, of course, the torture, which is all, you know, Hollywood, if you will.
Yeah.
But I'm a father of 4 children, and my youngest daughter, Savannah, believe it or not, actually helped me write the script. She named one of the characters. She was involved in the whole process. And I guess being a dad and, you know, these actual stories that have happened in my hometown and, you know, abductions to molestation and whatever, it kind of really inspired me to do a story, but a story about revenge and, you know, sort of, because we all know around the world justice systems don't always work.
Yeah.
So I figured, you know, we would do a little bit of payback ourselves, and that's what we did. Of course, Savannah wasn't involved in that side of it, but I think she knows what the film's about. I mean, she knows Daddy doesn't like courtroom dramas, so I think she put 2 and 2 together.
As a father, was the writing process difficult at times?
Very much, because when you'd start getting to something about one of, you know, that happened to one of the kids or whatever, I found myself, it's really weird because I don't consider myself a writer, but I found myself smashing the keyboard. Like, I would get really frustrated writing about it because, you know, you start to think, you know, about your own children. You start to get angry. You start to get, you know, pretty pissed off. And a lot of the dialogue that's in the film is actually Savannah and I, the way we talk, because I have my ex and, you know, a lot of it is based on more events, more true events than people would actually think. So it was quite hard to write sometimes, considering my daughter's house was broken into. You know, it can be quite scary, yeah.
I found it very hard now to watch some parts of it because that's exactly what you do. You put yourself in that position, you're thinking, my God, what would I do if she went missing? And those moments I thought you captured very well of when they couldn't find her, and then when they got the call saying they'd found her and they were so happy and running to see her, and then of course it was a tragic end then.
That part of the film too is actually based on a real event, you know, where the little girl was found by her father. So it was very hard here on the coast many years ago. But so there's a lot of inspiration there that is just so true, and real life people have lived through those events. So it can be a hard film for some people to watch. I've had people come up after seeing it, like at premieres around the world or wherever, and give me hugs. So obviously they've been through something themselves. But, you know, then we get to the torture side of it, which is quite fun.
Well, see, that was it. It was like 2 totally different movies. 2 halves to it. In the first part dealing with the relationships, the kidnapping, the finding the body, the grieving process. And then it completely changes into, I'd say it's a long time now since something shocked me. And the torture scenes, because the guy finds the killer. I won't ruin the film on people, but the guy finds the killer and literally tortures him. Can you talk a bit about that process of coming up with all these? There's very creative ideas there, coming up with the different tortures.
There's a line in the film where he says, you know, I found the plans on Google. And it's actually true. I found it on Google. But one of the scenes in there that involves a tube and some barbed wire actually happened to a child murderer here in Australia. So in prison, they actually did that to him in prison. A lot of the other torture devices I would research, but then I would rebuild them, you know, my own way. Like the knee splitter, you know, is probably my favourite part of the film because it's just so well done. You know, I'm looking at the knee splitter right now, but the knee splitter behind me in my office, still in the fella's leg. which is where it'll stay for eternity.
Yeah.
Every now and then I'll stick it up on pedophile websites, just to remind them.
Yeah, this is what happening.
This is what happens. But look, it was, obviously special effects and stuff like that can either wreck a film or really win the audience over. And I think with Daddy's Little Girl, I wanted to make sure that everything was so realistic and would shock you the moment you saw it. And I think that we succeeded in that, because the one comment I get from everybody, even gore lovers, have said to me, I had to turn away sometimes.
Oh, it really was. And the thing is as well, you're not a fan of CGI. All this was old school effects. It was really, really good and it was so realistic.
And that was really important to us, because CGI, it does work for some of them over the top films. But, old school horror lovers still love old school horror style films. They love to see that. Even if the prop, I don't know if you remember the movie Basket Case, but that was such a terrible latex prop, but everybody loved it still. You look at the props and stuff that we built with Daddy's Little Girl with Steve Boyle, the FX artist, as well, and they're so realistic. Like when that knee pops, we had to rebuild that on the night just so you could see his kneecap pop when it on the impact. So yet these days most people will go, we'll fix it in post and we'll use computers to make it. Well, that's not how I work. I want to physically the prop and still have people appreciate old school filmmaking at its finest.
Of all the things that were going on, do you know what was really making my stomach rumble? It was the noise coming from his throat. I could handle barbed wire been stuck in places we won't mention, and the knee been popped and arms been cut off, and that was the one thing that kept making me go, oh, like that, with the noise. Oh, God.
And it's the actual actor, that person's mum was one of Australia's renowned medical researchers, and she gave us all the tips on how you actually keep someone alive. So I'm kind of suspect on her. But when we did the tracheotomy, we were like, what noise would they make? And she said, just imagine sucking through a straw constantly. So that's what we did. We just got a straw and that's the noise we put there. In actual fact, it was quite annoying in edit because I got sick and tired of hearing it. But then when we did the premiere, people had the same thing. They're like, what? Oh, that's terrible. Yeah. So it definitely worked.
Got quite a few awards as well, the movie, didn't it?
Yeah, well, I think in total, I've uploaded it all on my shelf here, but I think it was, I think we had 29 nominations around the world, and we won 25. I think that's correct. We might have won 29, and I don't know, I've lost count.
That's amazing.
So I don't really make movies for festivals or anything. So it is cool to win the awards, but I still want to prove myself I've won many Best Director awards here right now. I can see them around, but I still don't believe myself to be worthy of those awards yet. I want to keep making good pictures, and I'm sure Charlie's, if I was to win a Best Director for Charlie's, I would feel I deserve it, because my first film, Come and Get Me, was very, very rough, under 20,000. Mm-hmm. Daddy's Little Girl really taught me how to shoot drama, which was important. As a lot of horror filmmakers forget to tell the backstory a lot. Yeah. So they just get straight into the blood and guts. So I feel that we deserve the awards, but the personal awards I won myself, I still don't feel I'm ready, or believe that I deserve them yet. I think that it's still a bit of time. But yeah, Daddy's Little Girl's won a few awards.
Well, there now, Charlie's Farm, that's in post-production at the minute. Could you tell us about the storyline of that movie?
Okay, Charlie's is cool. It's not about a child killer, but Charlie's I wrote Charlie's 4 years ago. I was actually meant to shoot Charlie's before Daddy's Little Girl. But as I mentioned, I didn't, being not ready to win awards, I didn't feel I was ready yet to shoot Charlie's Farm either. I've sat on it for quite some time. Charlie's, I've always been a huge fan of the slasher genre. Yeah. Jason Voorhees, Michael Myers, Leatherface. I'm not a Freddy fan. I can't stand him. But
what's wrong with you?
Oh, come on now. But Jason Voorhees, most definitely. I've just loved that kind of films. And I wanted to create Australia's first, true slasher. I'm a huge fan of Wolf Creek and Greg McLean. People will tell you otherwise, but I am. Yeah. But it's still, to me, it's not an iconic slasher character like Voorhees, Myers, or Leatherface. Yeah. Granted, those guys have also got a 30-year head start. So Charlie is 7 foot, 170 kilos of just pure killing machine. He doesn't talk, but yet he does smile. He's a 40-year-old child. Bill Moseley, who played Charlie's dad, was a psychotic man. Like, he would murder backpackers and, do brutal stuff when Charlie was a child. So Charlie obviously, ended up running away, if you will. I won't spoil the movie, but to urban legend, I guess, that the child went missing and disappeared.
Yeah.
And of course, he's never disappeared. He's always been there, and in the outback of Australia. And because of the legend of Charlie's farm, because of what his parents supposedly had done, tourists like to go there. And Charlie is a very big child. People have gone to Charlie's farm and left unhurt, not a mark on him.
Yeah.
Other people have gone to Charlie's farm and never left. And that's because Charlie is, as I said, he's a child. If you try to steal something or take something, you're going to upset Charlie. And if you upset Charlie, well, it's all right.
Lights out.
Lights out, that's for sure. It'll be interesting to see when the audience watches Charlie, if they can actually work out why he attacked these people. Because it's there right in front of you when you watch the film. But a lot of people, see, like Leatherface too was a big child, but you never really truly understood why did Thomas Hewitt do what he does. Well, Charlie, once you start to work out Charlie, you'll understand why he does what he does. And you might just say he's, as my mum and Nathan Jones both say, he's just very misunderstood.
Well, I'd say now, this definitely won't be for the weak stomach, I'd say.
Nah. Look, some of the kills are pretty cool. They're once again, I like to try and be original.
Yeah.
However, I have what I call my Voorhees kills, which is simple. But then I have stuff that's a little bit more in depth. However, with Charlie's, Daddy's Little Girl, you have one man in a room with another man, and you're putting all this effects into one person, can always look quite brutal. Mm-hmm. When you then spread effects out over to 11 different people, because there's 11 people dying in the first Charlie's, it doesn't seem as brutal if you did it on one victim. But each individual kill is, it's pretty impressive, I think. People that have seen it at the studio where it's being edited, they just walk around and they think I'm just some psycho, sick fella. But, so do I actually. But look, obviously, with movies today, I mean, you're a huge horror lover. Your listeners, they love horror. Yeah. It's very hard to be original, I guess. And everything you do now, people go, oh, I've seen it before, yeah. Whatever. Whereas what I want to try and do is, sure, there's certain ways to kill people in a film that we've all seen before. But I'm not trying to reinvent the genre. I'm just trying to make it my own way, my own version of that slasher genre. And I think Charlie will definitely become a household name very, very soon. Because if you could see what we see, I mean, granted, I'm bored watching it now. I kind of want to move into something else. But every time Nathan's on screen as Charlie, it's absolutely phenomenal. And an actress, Allira Jaques, she's an Australian actress that acted in the film. To date, every person that has been involved in the process says she is, without a doubt, the future of Australian, like an Australian scream queen. Oh, she literally taught, the Americans were in awe of how natural and good she is. So I think the whole world is going to not only meet Charlie, but also see some more great Australian talent coming up.
It must have been amazing for you, being such a Jason Voorhees fan, to have Kane Hodder on board.
Oh, definitely. Look, when Kane turned up, I played a practical joke on him. I don't know if you've seen the video, but I went to pick him up from the airport, and he's I'm Kane Hodder, I'm Jason Voorhees, and it's like, yeah, welcome to Australia, mate. And when he got to his hotel, he had a blow-up doll as a gift from me with all writing all over it. It was really funny. Kane's got a great sense of humour. He just wants to act now. He wants to do acting, not just stunt work or not just be the killer.
Behind the mask.
Kane wants to really get into acting, and he made some really, really cool comments to me, about my directing ability, and said that I was up there with one of the best that he's ever worked with, and that made me feel real good. Kane, like everybody, you know, sometimes that little thing can help an actor, you know, perform on screen. And for Kane, you'll notice it, for some random reason in the scene, he actually holds a banana. And people will be like, why the heck is he holding a banana? Because sometimes with actors, you know, it's easier to give them something to do. They deliver the lines better. And he was no longer Jaques Voorhees. He became Kane the actor, and he did a phenomenal job. He really did good, and he was a pleasure to work with, as was Bill Moseley. I mean, Bill Moseley, oh my gosh, that guy is, here's something I don't know if your audience knows. Bill Moseley has played some very dark characters in horror, but Bill Moseley is actually a fan of bugs, little bugs. We're talking beetles and moths. Bill would walk around the house and just stare at bugs forever. He is such a peaceful man. He's a bird watcher. He will go and just watch birds for hours. The only souvenir Bill Moseley took home from Australia was a green tree frog. Yeah, he's not what people think as some, you know, horror guy. You know, both those gentlemen are very, very relaxed, very sweet people to work with.
I know, and you just picture Bill in the Devil's Rejects. You couldn't picture him out bird watching then.
He's nothing like that. I tell you what, he's a big softie. I've got photos of him cuddling koalas. He's like, dude, you're a softie. Tara was good fun to work with. I think you know what? I think Tara's going to shock some people. You know, let's be honest. You know, around 10 years ago, Tara, you know, 10, 20 years ago, Tara Reid was kicking some major butt.
Yeah.
Last sort of 10 years, you know, she's made a couple of bad decisions in her life, and you know, these things happen.
Yeah.
But you know, a lot of people say to me, "Why Tara? Why Tara?" And I'm like, because I watched a movie once called The Devil's Pond, and I thought Tara did very, very well in it. So when I spoke to Tara, I was like, you know, come out and let's do it. And she was actually a pleasure to direct. I worked her really hard. She left here bruised and battered, the poor bugger. I mean, literally, you know, it's an indie film, so we had to make her earn a keep just like everybody else. And I think I think the critics will watch it, because most people love to hate Tara. I think people are going to watch this film and go, shit, Tara, you've still got it though. You know, she did a really good job, and she had to deliver emotion. She had to roll around in mud. She had to run and kick. We physically made her smash her way through an old timber fruit box. Little did she know that they pre-cut it, but she's so little that she still had to keep, and I wouldn't stop filming until she actually kicked her way through it.
Yeah.
So we really got everything we could out of Tara Reid. So I'm very, very proud of her, and I think that horror fans are a little bit, Tara's in it, don't think I'll watch it. Well, I think they may change their mind, because the film's not about Tara, it's about Charlie. And let's be honest, everybody loves to watch people die in horror movies. So I think no matter what, they're going to watch Charlie's Farm and go, yeah, that was pretty cool. And put away, you know, the thoughts of Tara or Bill or whoever you're a fan of, and just watch it for the horror genre, the slasher genre. And I think they'll all forget about all the talent and focus on on Nathan as Charlie, because I can sit here now and name Myers, Voorhees and Leatherface, but I can't really name their victims. You know, we all end up becoming a fan of the actual killer, and hopefully in time people will remember the victims from Charlie, but more importantly they'll remember Charlie.
And another important thing is people need to judge people on the roles, you know, the role they're playing, and not on their personal life. Exactly
right. And that's, you know, like so many people want to do interviews with me when we were shooting, and they would ask me questions about poor Tara's personal life, you know, and Tara's health, and it's like, leave the poor girl alone. She's such a sweet person, you know. It was always around her personal life. And in the end, I started refusing interviews unless they spoke about the Australian talent as well. And that way we could, you know, start promoting the film as a whole, and not just, you know, one person's, you know, personal life. But you're right, when they're on camera, it's not Tara Reid. I mean, yes, it's Tara Reid, but, you know, you're watching Natasha, Melanie, Charlie. You're watching these characters that they're playing. But I guess some people, look, how about we put it like this? Those that don't like Tara, have a few beers, then watch the film. those that love Tara, have a few beers and watch the film anyway. You know, just watch some people die. Who cares?
She actually has me dying to see this because I'd seen she'd said on Australian TV that she was so scared she was having trouble sleeping, and I thought, my God, if the actors are scared just making the film, what's it going to be like when we actually see it?
You know, and the funny thing is, she actually told the truth. Tara, I mean, I hope she doesn't mind me talking about it. She would go home at night because she'd stay in an apartment at Coolum, which is about an hour away from set. And Allira would be on the other side. And Tara would actually go over to Allira's apartment and wake her up at 3 in the morning. Tara she did do it pretty tough. Charlie, like Allira, refused to see Charlie until the day she was on set, and we think she actually did pee her pants. You know, she was meant to be in the water, but she hadn't been in the water yet. You know, it's like, I think you just peed your pants. But I mean, you know, poor Tara, yeah, well, a lot of bad stuff happened out on set too. We had on our very first day of shooting, a girl broke her ankle.
Oh my God.
Then we started having crew fall ill. Tara fell very, very sick. We had one of our ADs run through a paddock and pass out. Nobody knew where she was. And then they found her laying down in the ground. There was a lot of things that happened on Charlie's farm that a lot of people don't know about. So, yeah, it was quite interesting, you know, the way the whole shoot went. It was like, maybe we're all damned from the beginning, you know?
And then you have some class Charlie's Farm merch. Where is that available at the moment? I'd seen it on your Facebook page, some really cool t-shirts.
Yeah, we've got the t-shirt. I'm starting to do the merch. It's the one thing, when I went to the American film market, I learned that if you're going to have a character like Charlie or Chucky or any of those characters, always retain the rights to the intellectual property. So the one thing I wanted to do with Charlie was retain the rights. So me and my kids own Charlie, and what we're doing now is we're just starting on the merch. You know, we're starting with some t-shirts and stubby coolers, but we're also going to get little Charlie bobbleheads, you know, Charlie statues, and you know, I really want to build Charlie as a really cool horror figure. But you know, we have our website, which is slaughterfx.com.au, and you know, because we also make special effects here, like, you know, dead bodies and, you know, all that cool stuff. You know, people jump on and they buy stuff, but you can also buy shirts and you can also get my other films on there. Don't get Come and Get Me unless you're really, really, really pissed. Then watch Come and Get Me. Because it's, yeah, like you've got to be smashed to watch Come and Get Me. It's as simple as that. It's no, you don't have to do it just for the shits and giggles. But yeah, yeah, we got our website, but you can buy stuff there.
Charlie's Farm. Then, when are you planning to have that released?
Okay, well, everybody asks me this question, and I dodge it all the time. But we are going to do a premiere for Charlie. Hang on, let me work this out now. In August, September, in Australia. Then we head over to the United States. I've already got offers to open festivals in Mexico, Las Vegas, different places. So we'll head over to Los Angeles probably around, well, I have to be in Mexico on the 2nd of October. So I'd like to do a Los Angeles premiere before then. And then, yeah, head into a little bit of the festival circuit where, you know, and of course we've got the American film market. And we're right in the middle of doing a really good contract for Charlie's right now with a top sales agent / distributor. So Charlie's future is looking pretty bright.
Well, I'm really looking forward to seeing it because I tell you, after seeing Jenny's Little Girl last night, I'm just dying to see Charlie's Farm. I can only imagine. And I really hope for you he does become the next big iconic slasher character. You
know, I think that as long as, I guess, Charlie gets, you know, it'll take a few years for Charlie to get the recognition of the other boys, or the other killers. But I think as long as the world can accept that it doesn't matter who you are, anybody can make a film that's of the same league as Friday the 13th and that, I think more and more filmmakers will get a chance. I think the problem is that when you say to somebody, I'm going to be the next Alfred Hitchcock, everybody says, get over yourself and go get a job. In today's society, dreaming is not a cool thing to do anymore. So I truly do hope that Charlie does, get up there and show the world that an independent guy from a small town in Australia can match it with the big boys. Because then it will show all the other filmmakers that if you want to be Alfred Hitchcock, well, bloody hell, you can. So, I'm really hoping that Charlie does.
Excellent. Well, listen, Chris, thanks so much for joining me on the show today. I've really enjoyed chatting with you.
Yeah, no worries. Oh, by the way, I love your accent.
Thanks. You won't like my laugh. I'm like a witch's cackle. If you're ever doing a movie about a witch, you have to laugh. Set in stone.
All right. We know who to get for the ADR.